Quick heads up for anybody who has not seen it, there is an episode 0 to this series. I wanted to do it to establish my history with Final Fantasy, and what that leads into in the future, considering 14 has a lot of fan service for the series, just to let you guys know what I would get excited about or what I might be completely oblivious to while playing the game to set up, what some reactions might be in the future. So I thought that was just a fun way to introduce it and give you guys more of an idea about me going into this journey. Also, somehow forgot to mention Final Fantasy VII Remake. I love that game. My sis does as well, but I guess I just forgot. So yeah, the joys of being unscripted. This video series idea is also inspired by HeyJ on YouTube. I loved how the community kind of banded together to convince him to try out Monster Hunter Rise again, and he committed to archiving and summarizing his stream experiences on YouTube and talking about it, and where his impression kept changing or what his thoughts were as he learned to play the game. Big fan of his work, and I wanted to try to do something similar with Final Fantasy XIV. Anyways, without further ado, welcome everybody to episode 1 of the Final Fantasy XIV video journal. Happy to have you here. It's currently March 11, 2022. 3 sessions have already happened on stream. I am a bit behind on doing these, but rest assured I will get caught up eventually. But for now, yeah, day 1. I wanted to talk about day 1 specifically and how that went. And by day 1, I guess I mean technically day 0, not to be confused with the other video. No, I mean, I want to briefly talk about the benchmark. Before installing the game, I wanted to see how well it would run on PC. Friends suggested to install the benchmark, right? Did that, set it up, could also make my character along with that. Ended up going with a female here for a number of reasons. I was used to character creation in Phantasy Star Online 2, which is insanely customizable, like almost to the point of like too much freeform, but it's fantastic. I love it. You could get some like really ridiculous designs if you take your time with that character creator. I was not used to how 14 did it. It's kind of divided. There's like options, but it's tied to the race or the clan and certain other things. I wasn't used to it being so restricted, I guess is the right word. Like there's plenty of options, but it's minimal just from my point of reference, right? There were a few options I was thinking, but the two that it kind of came down to was like a male aura, because it looks kind of cool. Big fan of the whole like dragon aesthetic, or lizard, depending on who you ask, right? It's here or there. I was considering that, and also making a female here, which is what I ended up going with. I was not expecting skin tones to also be limited to that stuff, and like, more options. I thought you could just pick your race and it was a bit more freeform. So I ended up going with female here, just to make it based off of the character that I usually make for Monster Hunter games, which is like a female hunter that looks similar with the tan skin, black hair, all that stuff. Also ended up going Highlander specifically for the clan, just because she looked taller. Also, couldn't help but notice that in the preview she was tan as well, which is definitely what I preferred for the skin tone. So ended up going with that, figuring that the other option might be more limited, and it kind of was. So I was like, you know what, let me just go Highlander instead. It's more up my alley. Ended up going with that, just to play it safe. Maybe in the future I'll make a male Aura for fun, but I just couldn't envision the way I wanted to make it at the time, so I just said, you know what, let's not make this take longer than it needs to. So, made my character, and after that, ended up running the benchmark. Dude, that benchmark is way more hyped than it needs to be. What? Okay, I mentioned in that last video that I only have memories of Ul'dah. Visually, it's not a bad place, but it's just uninteresting with a lot of browns, right? Holy crap. I usually try to avoid spoilers. Really try to avoid spoilers, but the benchmark inadvertently spoiled me on things, or I guess like, the light spoilers. It's like, how can you tell if it's a spoiler if there's no context, right? That sort of thing. But they showed off all these really cool shots of cutscenes, and I guess some of them were Endwalker related, but more importantly also showed off a lot of the vistas and like a lot of the locations that you'd go to in the future, and it just, oh my god, it got me excited to play the game. Already before even starting again, the benchmark got me excited because I got to see the sheer variety the game has, because I didn't go looking for Final Fantasy XIV videos or reviews or anything, right? I've just been under a rock intentionally, knowing that at some point I might come back again, especially when I heard it was getting better. So holy crap, the benchmark gets me really excited, pretty much doubles my motivation to go through Final Fantasy XIV, and I was not expecting that. Long story short, made the character there, imported it into the game. Where to begin? There's a lot, so I got some brief notes to help me along so it doesn't take too long. This is without a script, by the way. Most of these are going to be unscripted just for the sake of speed. If I need to, I'm already like 3, let's put it this way. Session 4 is happening today. I'm recording this for day 1 today. So when I say I gotta get caught up, I gotta emphasize speed more than scripting this stuff and making it really pretty. Like, I'm sorry, it's gonna be a little crude, but bear with me. I figure the journey is what matters, not how elaborate it is, right? So one of the first things I noticed, but I forgot how really bad it was until looking at that 2016 footage. Oh my god, TP is gone. It's completely gone. That is so good, because I remember that was one of the things that made the fighting and the combat so rough to do, was that you would use some of it to sprint, then you would have to wait for your TP to fill back up to even consider doing fights, because your skills would also use TP. Oh my lord, I can't tell you how much better of a design choice that is. You know, like the whole point of DPS, or like rather melee focused classes and jobs, is that you don't want to worry about resource management. You don't want to worry about MP and all these other things for the most part. It was just another resource that really did not need to be there, and it makes sense that they got rid of it. So I don't know what year that happened, but thank God. Once again, another reason, thank God I'm late. Day 1 was mainly a lot of tutorials, right? Looking for the Aetherites in Ul'dah, meeting up with Momodi, Thancred, and all the other story progression that happens at the start, which I do find interesting, because I wonder how the story goes for those brief first few hours when you're in a different starting town. But for now, I wanted to go with Ul'dah just to have that compare and contrast, you know, just realize, like, right, I remember why Ul'dah wasn't visually interesting, and it really was a lot of browns. It has a great day and night theme, though. That's one thing I will mention about 14, is that, oh my god, I forgot how good the music is. Like, I remember the Ul'dah themes, but I don't remember much else. And even just the field themes are really good, too. It's shockingly good. I'm noticing more of, like, the music that played in the story cutscenes as well. Just really nice pieces. Consistently nice tracks. So far, music is getting pretty good. I know there's gonna be better stuff later, but it's setting at like an 8 out of 10, which is pretty good to start off already. Like, if it's starting off like, you know, that good, ooh-wee, I can't wait. Ended up meeting with some of my friends, which I have to say, the experience of Final Fantasy XIV already has diverted a lot, just because I have friends to play with now. Because back then, all I had was just my sister. It was very much like, you know, just tutorials by myself. Thankfully, shoutouts to Brace of Soul, Masa, Theta, Yukiko as well, and Vex. You know, they all joined in the quicksand, and we met up. All the friend requests, all that jazz. It's just really neat. Oh, also Midnight Twilight as well, ended up meeting up. My sister also joined us as well towards the end. And if it wasn't obvious, yeah, her character is based off Roche from Final Fantasy VII Remake. So when I say we love the games, we love the games, and that's her favorite character in that. Well, at least in part 1 for now. But yeah, definitely her favorite. I love that, man. Just the social aspect of these MMOs is really neat. Everybody was really gracious, you know, saying hi, or like, you know, they were in the Twitch chat. We just kind of hit it off, you know, and they ended up helping me, graciously got free Uber rides, right? Soul would just take me where I needed to go on his big fancy whale, or space whale, which, oh my lord, already the Final Fantasy IV references are great. I love it. You know how it goes with MMOs, where people show off their cool mounts, their emotes, all these things that I wish I had, but I don't at the moment. But, you know, it's the time they got to flex when they put in the hours, right? They have that right. You know, ended up getting help with Soul on customizing the settings for my controller, which even with the help of that optimization, Yeah, it is a little weird still to control the menus with a controller, which I wanted to do, mind you. I've never been much of a keyboard and mouse player. I just prefer how comfortable playing on a controller is. It's what I've known all my life. I'm not a big PC player. I'm still not, but I am getting used to it, you know. I never grew up with PC gaming like that. It's still a bit awkward to fumble through the menus and find my way. The lock-on's a little weird too with like the D-pad and like, you know, picking somebody. Just because sometimes it gets hung up or it picks the wrong thing that I wanted, so with time I'll get used to it, but you know, it's a little clunky right now. I'm not gonna lie though, one of the things that looks really goofy so far is my character. Like, she looks beautiful at the start, right? I love the starting armor or like gear that she has. She looks very pretty. And then later, you just get this weird like mishmash of like outfits and gear that you get along the way from doing the main story quests. And I just look like a hot mess, right? Like, it reminds me of mixed armor sets in Monster Hunter, and the stuff that drives me nuts where I can't wait to get the layered armor in those games. So I do know there is glamour in this. I gotta figure that out still. I'm gonna have to get used to that until I can at least do some glamour to make my character look cool. But oh my god, it's just, oh, it's so unfortunate, you know? Start off really pretty, and then you're suddenly a mattress. Suddenly got this goofy pink shirt, right? It's just, it's the experience. It's the A Realm Reborn experience. A lot of players apparently say that, yeah, that is where you're gonna look the most goofy when you get down to it. So, what can you do? Biggest takeaway from day one, though, in general, was that, oh my lord, they really sped things up. Now, to be fair, it's not all the game's credit. It's also my friends helping me out with their free mount rides and getting to the safe spots or travel points faster, and specifically where the quest is, because they just know by memory. Because my friend Sol, apparently he's done this several times. He's helped other new players, you know, get roped into 14. So, yeah, who would have known? All those times me playing with him fighting games would lead to me getting into Final Fantasy XIV. How crazy is that? You know, there's that made the speed faster, but also the fact that you can really just do main story quests all the way through now. People were not kidding, and it's great. It is such a notable step up and improvement from what it used to be. Because I remember just getting level walled, or just, you know, being not in the threshold of where I needed to be to even finish the story quests. I wasn't a high enough level, so I would just have to go out and grind or do another side quest or something, and it made that take too long. Way too long. For perspective, I think I did like 3 sessions back in 2016, 3 separate stream sessions. Probably not all, you know, 6 or 7 hours. But the fact that I got to the point where I was back in 2016 already on day 1, if not more so, is crazy to me. Like, just a single day got me to where I was back in 2016. So, now, day 2, completely new. Already completely new. That's crazy. Like, I love it, man. I love it. So, I'm looking forward to seeing what else the game has in store. So far, it's been a pretty good experience, right? It's gonna be a slow burn. That's what I usually hear about A Realm Reborn. It's a slow burn. Some might even say it's a slog, you know, but we'll see. I'm still forming my own opinions on that stuff, right? This feels like standard MMO fare, but it doesn't feel like Final Fantasy in the sense of like, oh, I'm so hooked. I can't wait to see what's next in the story. It feels very much like, you know, fetch quests, very simple, mundane things at the moment. I know it's gonna be better, and that's why I'm tempering my expectations, and you need to remember that, right, the bar is low for now. So I'm looking forward to day 2, but that's basically what happened in day 1. It was just a lot of tutorials, setups, main story progression. Still enjoying it for what it was, you know. I still enjoyed the music, taking in all the sights, and really just talking with friends, seeing what it's like for a newcomer in 2022. So Love seeing some people actually show up in the chat as well, because in that previous video I mentioned that was a big point. It's just so nice to see the community be welcoming to a new player now in 2022. Now that it's gotten more popular, I'd like to imagine now that it's gotten more popular, there's just a lot more people to go around and support and help people out, and more people are excited to see newcomers and welcome them. Very much how the Monster Hunter community is in some ways. It's funny to notice those parallels being a fan of that series and going into this. It's good. So far, good first impressions. I'm excited to do more. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one, guys. Take care.